Hey guys, this week your illustration pack is kind of a group project that you're going to work on by yourselves. And then when we come back from spring break on Thursday in lab, we will bring all of our work together and see what we created as a unit. So each of you, when you left on the Thursday before spring break, should have picked up a little square with part of an image on it, black and white, kind of grayscale, and a larger piece of paper, piece of sketchbook paper. So the idea is you've got your little, square here, your square of the picture. And what you're going to then do is you also picked up that square of paper from me, cut to these specifications. And the idea is you have to take the small image on your little square of paper and you have to convey it onto the larger sheet of paper. And when we come back, each person is going to bring their square of sketchbook paper with their drawing on it, and then we're going to figure out how they fit together, and we're going to see what larger image it makes. So first off, if you didn't get a little square of the picture on Thursday because you weren't in class, please make sure that on Tuesday, when we're back from spring break, you grab one of those from me and you grab a piece of sketchbook paper so that you can do it for Thursday. Because if we haven't all done our work for the Thursday after spring break, then our picture isn't going to come together. So as you're working on this, what you're going to do, the most important thing is to remember that the edges of your paper are going to connect up to somebody else's drawing. So it's not going to make much sense if kind of the lines don't line up with other people's. So probably the most important thing is to figure out what the edges of your picture are like. So when I look at mine, I've got these lines, like one of them comes out right here. Then I got this block right here, this section, and there's this white section here. And then there's the beginning here of this little shape over here. So that's what I have to look at, kind of think about the most is anything that touches the edges of my square is going to have to connect up with somebody else's square. So I want to make sure my proportions are right and that my scale is right. So when I look at my square, I see, this line right here, straight line, basically a horizontal line, and I'm estimating that it's about halfway down the paper, right? Because like right there is about the halfway line. So when I take over to my sketchbook page, I'm going to draw that line, however I'm going to sketch it. Basically just looks like a straight line. I'll take my pencil and do that. And I'm going to have a line right through the paper. And then I have to be really careful and look at, okay, this gray bar here, that looks like it's taking up, like more than half of that. So it's like proportionally, maybe it starts here and ends about here. So you're really trying to think like how much space does each of these structures take up? And how should I draw it? And then I'm going to within that gray bar, there's kind of like a lighter gray. And then there's like a darker gray. So then I'm going to do all my shading or whatever it is I'm going to do. And then over here, like about half the distance between this and this, maybe a little higher, starts this kind of sloping line. So I'm going to say it's about halfway, maybe starts right there. And then I'm going to draw my line that comes almost down to that corner. So the idea is when I bring my square in with all of your squares, and we line them up, this line that I drew here is going to continue into your drawing, or this line that I drew right here is going to continue into the next person's drawing, and then this bar is going to go into the next person's drawing, and they'll line up. So we're not going to have a situation where, let me just erase this. If we don't all pay attention to that sort of thing, then what's going to happen is like if I've drawn my bar right here and somebody else didn't pay much attention to where that bar should be, then when we hook it up with their square over here, we might have this being all like messed up and this thing is going to be like not connected with this thing. So when you're doing your drawing, the entire drawing is important, but you really need to pay attention to those edges. Like where is it going to connect up with somebody else's image? So when I look at this little thing right here, whatever this is, I have to really think about, okay, that's taking up like about down to halfway of this white space here. And then probably starts right out about there. And then, then I can start trying to make the shape, like, I don't know, it's kind of this weird, I don't know what that is. And then it kind of goes like that. So my idea is whoever draws the square over here, that whatever this shape is going to connect up to, I don't know, maybe it goes like that. It's going to connect up with somebody else's drawing. So you want to think about how you're responsible to everybody else in the group and that you're contributing your piece of the drawing to the larger project. So if you can be really, really careful about just like those proportions of like, where should I start this line and this line and this line and this line, and then where does this thing begin and where does it end? The amount of detail you put into the middle of your picture and how much shading you do and all that stuff, that's really up to you. So that's the part that's individual to you. And the part where you're responsible to other people is the edges, where it connects up. So do your best. I know a lot of you guys are like, I'm not an artist, blah, blah, blah. Like, you don't have to be an artist. The reason we do all this drawing is not so that you can produce a brilliant piece of art that people are going to pay money for. The reason we're doing this is because there are certain things that you can only learn when you force your brain to spend a lot of time and really focused attention on them. And by trying to draw something, you force your brain to do that because it has to process, how am I going to turn what this image I'm looking at looks like into my own version of it? So don't get hung up on how beautiful your work looks. Just try and get it so you feel like especially those edges are going to line up with other people's squares, and then do your best. And if you start to kind of get a sense of like, okay, yeah, at least if nothing else, even if it doesn't look fantastic to you, you spent time with it. And you really thought about, what is this thing I'm looking at look like? How is it put together? And that's really what learning anatomy is about. It's not about being able to draw a beautiful picture of a muscle fiber or something like that. It's being able to function with a mental image of what that particular structure is like. It's not even so much about being able to draw an image on the page. It's about when I say muscle fiber, or when I say tibia, or when I say nucleolus, you immediately have a picture in your head of what I'm talking about. And until you have that picture in your head, that's your indication that you don't really know what that thing is yet. So that's what this exercise is about. It's really just looking closely at something and getting a little more training in how to look closely and how to convert something into an image in your head, and then in this case on the paper. So try it. Come in on Thursday after spring break ready to contribute your square to everybody else's square. I really do need these to be on time. So if you know you're going to be late, please let me know, because I'll probably do your drawing for you so that we can put these together. Because if we have too many squares that are missing, it's not going to look like anything. So if there's something that's going to get in your way, you're not going to be able to turn it in, definitely give me a heads up. But even a rough sketch is going to be better than nothing. So anything you can have ready for that Thursday is going to be thumbs up by me. Other than that, enjoy your spring break, guys. I hope you have a restful time, and I'll see you when we get back.